So, you've been told you have a tight serratus anterior, tight or weak, or perhaps both. But the problem with that is that you're trying to throw one muscle upon a potentially large amount of problems that can happen in a very complex joint. There are many factors when it comes to scapular and shoulder movement. You must take a broader approach whenever you want to address your issues. The first thing I want you to ask yourself is there a good amount of variety in your upper body training? Do you regularly do pulling exercises? Do you work overhead quite a bit? And are you competent at rotational shoulder exercises? Your shoulders have 4 main directions of movement. They have elevation, depression, protraction, and retraction, and you also need to be able to pass through all of those positions in a smooth action, and that gives you your rotation element as well. Most people will spend a lot of time in an elevated and a protracted position, so you, by focusing on the serratus anterior, which helps to protract the shoulder blade, is actually bringing yourself into that position that you're spending too much time in already. Most people with shoulder problems are in that rounded shoulder state, and they don't have good overall training. In actual fact, training the opposite movements like retraction is going to help you with your overall joint centration and stability and make your entire shoulder work like a shoulder. When every muscle in the shoulder complex is doing its job, then the serratus anterior will just calm down because it is working as part of a functional unit, and it's not just trying to pick up the slack from lazy rhomboids. Don't you go and search for exercises for lazy rhomboids. You push that backspace button right now. Let's go through some good exercises to retrain your shoulders and get you out of this rut. The first thing you need in your life is a resistance band. If you do not have one of these, you must get one if you want to have hunky-dory shoulders. So what Jenny's going to do is just wrap it around a rig post. Then from there, she's going to start to work on a retraction. So she rolls her shoulders up, back and down. She then starts to pull back, the elbows back as much as she can, and she squeezes as much as she can. And then she can just go through reps like that. She makes sure her neck is nice and relaxed by turning her head left and right while she's there. And she can really start to focus on the back muscles, getting good posture and good retraction into the shoulder blades. If you're not doing this regularly, you need to start right now, yesterday. That's when you need to start. Next things we can start to do is take that retraction a bit further, so you can take the band out into a freestanding position, and you can then start to work on your banded retraction. So if you just make it a wee bit easier for yourself, just grab one loop of the band. A light TheraBand is great as well. If you have one, you can work on double-handed retraction, so you're pulling back and you're keeping a nice straight arm as you do this. You're trying to work on getting those shoulder blades pinched together at that back position with keeping the arms nice and straight. You can also do single arm variations there as well. When you do one side at a time, you're able to get a slight bit more range, and it will just feel lovely jubbly. Do the other side as well. And then you can throw in some of the doubles again, so go back to that. So this stuff here, you want to make it so easy that you can just stand and do it all day long and it wouldn't faze you in the slightest. That's how you're going to have stronger, healthier shoulders that can cope with the cooler stuff that everybody wants to be able to do. Next thing I want to think about is our rotation. So banded retractions, banded rotations, shoulder dislocates these are called. Bring them up and around and back around again, keeping the arms nice and straight as you do this. Whenever you reach the front position, just pull the band back around yourself a little bit, and you'll want to start to feel the lats whenever you're there. And then whenever you're doing that front position, you can start to work on your protraction here, and then squeeze from the pecs. So you should feel the pecs up here working as you squeeze together. So don't bend the arms and push like that. Keep the arms straight and then push from the index fingers together. So that is your banded exercises. We then want to take this to more rotational settings. So we need to go to the floor and we need some rings. So when we rotate our shoulders, we want to make sure that we have the ability to only move from the shoulders and not starting to let the elbows join in. So if Jenny just goes in an all fours position for me, what we want to see here is, can you make a nice controlled circle that she's going backwards right now, but can she do that while keeping her arms straight? The amount of people that have bad shoulders and all these issues and stuff that they're having problems with, that can't do this drill, and they start bending the elbows, or they just feel like they can't get any movement at all whenever they try and do it. They're really jerky, their shoulders feel really grindy. This is the stuff you need to focus on. This is stuff you need to practice every day until you get the hang of it. This is something I still do to this day, almost every day pretty much. So you want to make sure you can make nice controlled circles forwards and then nice controlled circles backwards. So you're going to start hitting your protraction here and your retraction and everything. You can break all those steps down as well. So if Jenny was to just want to go up and down, so protract and retract, she can work on that. or she could do her elevate and depress in that position as well. And the floor gives her a bit of feedback to work with. You're just trying to keep the arm straight. So I would hop yourself right down right now and try this exercise. If you struggle with this exercise, your shoulders are not as healthy as they could be. So this is something you want to work on. The positive of it is that if you do struggle with it, you've loads of gains to get. So that's a happy thing to have. The next thing we want to work on is the other directions as well. So our vertical hang. So Jenny's just got a couple of sets of rings here. I have one set of rings. But what you can do here then is start to work on stretching the shoulders so you keep your feet on the ground. It's not about how your grip strength is going to hold out or how long you can hang on for. Take breaks as you need to, but start to hang, start to let the shoulders open up. You can rock yourself back and forward in this position, side to side. You can also work on those rotations in this position as well. So Jenny's doing shoulder circles forwards, just as she was doing there. The angle's just slightly different now, so we're working on shoulder flexion here. So it's going to help her with her overhead position. It's going to help open everything up in the chest as well. Really good exercise to do. So forwards and backwards, go for 5 to 10 reps each direction and just see how it all feels. Give yourself a rest. Do at least 3 sets of it, and you'll start to feel over time, like over a few weeks, if you keep consistent with this, that your shoulders just start to feel really packed and really strong, and they'll stop giving you as many issues, and you will hopefully get back to doing the things that you enjoy doing rather than having to completely stop everything you're doing to do really boring exercises. When you're programming your overall training, remember to keep joint health in mind. If you're actively avoiding doing movements because they're causing you pain, figure out what mobility restriction it is you have and actually work on it, because it's going to come back to bite you later on if you just keep avoiding certain things. It means the shoulders are out of whack, so you want to make sure that you address that. You don't need to over-obsess about it. You don't need to have a magic push-pull ratio. You don't need to become a pull-up master if you want to be able to do a bench press. Don't be thinking like that. Just make sure you're addressing the movements regularly enough and you have something that you can do to hit that direction of movement. So make sure your shoulders are happy, make sure your muscles are happy, and you will be lasting a lot longer in your training, and that way you're going to make more gains, because if you're not injured, you can train. If you are injured, you can't train, and you're probably going to fall off your diet as well. So make sure that you are keeping your mobility in mind and have more happy training.